Did you know that your brain burns 20% of your daily calories despite only being 2% of your body weight? That's right, your brain is a carb-hungry powerhouse, but not all carbohydrates feed it in the same way. In this video, I'm going to reveal why some carbs make you foggy and tired while others can sharpen your focus and boost your memory. You've probably been told carbs are bad, but what if certain carbs could actually enhance your brain's function? Stay with me to discover the carb truth nobody's talking about. Think about this for a moment. Your brain makes up just 2% of your body weight, but consumes a whopping 20% of your daily energy. That's like having a tiny appliance in your home that uses a fifth of all of your electricity. But why is this organ so incredibly hungry? And what happens when you don't feed it properly? Your brain never takes a break. Right now, as you're watching this video, it's processing these words, regulating your heartbeat, maintaining your posture, controlling your breathing, and handling thousands of other tasks simultaneously. This non-stop operation requires a constant supply of fuel, not just any fuel, but the right kind. Here's where things get concerning. Many trending diets today encourage severe carb restriction, promising rapid weight loss and other benefits. But what these diet gurus often don't mention is that your brain's preferred fuel source is glucose, which primarily comes from, you guessed it, carbohydrates. When you drastically cut carbs, you're essentially putting your brain on an energy restriction diet it didn't sign up for. What happens to your brain when you suddenly remove its primary source of fuel? Well, research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows something quite remarkable. Your brain can actually shrink slightly in volume when adapting to extreme carb restrictions. This isn't just a theoretical concern. It has real effects on how you feel and function. Have you noticed how people in the first few weeks of a keto or an extremely low-carb diet often complain about feeling mentally foggy? They struggle to concentrate, forget things easily, and might even feel irritable or depressed. There's a psychological reason for this. Your brain is literally scrambling to find alternative fuel sources when its preferred glucose supply is cut off. Your frontal lobes are particularly vulnerable to these glucose fluctuations. This region, sitting right behind your forehead, handles your executive functions, decision-making, focus, planning, and emotional regulation. When glucose levels drop off, these higher cognitive functions are among the first to suffer. You might find it harder to resist impulses, focusing on complex tasks, or maintaining emotional stability. It's not that you lack the willpower. Your brain simply lacks the energy it needs to function optimally. Researchers at Tufts University found that even mild glucose drops can result in measurable cognitive impairment. Test subjects show decreased performance on attention tasks, reduced verbal fluency, and slower reaction times when their brain glucose levels were experimentally lowered. And the effects are more pronounced in tasks requiring sustained mental effort, exactly the kind of thinking you need for important work or life decisions. Your attention span shortens, creative problem solving becomes more difficult, memory formation and recall slow down, even your mood regulation systems struggle, which is why blood sugar often correlates with irritability or anxiety. Your brain is sending essential distress signals, demanding the fuel it needs to function properly. Now, this doesn't mean that all carb-restricted diets are harmful. Your body can adapt over time with the liver producing ketones as an alternative brain fuel. However, this adaptation period can be rough, and some brain regions never fully adapt using ketones as efficiently as they use glucose. Here are some important things to take away. Your brain absolutely needs carbohydrates to function at its best. This isn't a matter of opinion, it's basic neurology. The idea that carbs are universally bad simply doesn't align with how your brain is designed to operate. Your cognitive function, mood stability, and overall mental performance depend on adequate glucose supply. The interconnected system of brain chemicals has a control panel you can access right now. It's called the glycemic index. Ever notice how some meals leave you mentally sharp while others make your brain feel like it's wading through mud? The difference often comes from down to a simple number that predicts exactly how your brain will respond to carbohydrates on your plate. The glycemic index, or G1 for short, ranks foods from a scale of 0 to 100 based on how quickly they raise the blood pressure compared to pure glucose. Pure glucose itself scores a perfect 100, serving as a benchmark against all other foods and how they are measured. This numerical system transforms the abstract concept of good carbs versus bad carbs into something measurable that directly correlates with brain performance. Food scoring above 70 are classified as high G1, and those cause dramatic blood sugar spikes we discussed earlier. What's especially deceptive is how many seemingly innocent foods rank surprisingly high on this scale. A bowl of cornflakes scores around 80. Instant white rice hits about 87. A baked russet potato can reach up to 95, nearly matching pure glucose. Even many healthy granola bars and fruit juices score above 65, triggering the same neurological roller coaster as candy. With these high GI foods that dominate your diet, your brain experiences something neurologists call glycemic variability. Wild swings in blood glucose that create hostile environment for optimal cognitive function. Harvard researchers found that this pattern of eating can reduce memory performance and increase inflammation in the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for forming new memories. What's even more concerning is the long-term effect of chronological elevated blood sugar of your brain. Studies of the University of Queensland demonstrated that people who consistently consume high GI diets show greater brain shrinkage over time and perform worse on tests measuring executive function, your ability to plan, organize, and complete tasks. They also found that insulin resistance, which develops after years of eating high GI corresponding on the glycemic index table, corresponds with an increase of cognitive impairment and raises the risk of Alzheimer's disease by up to 65%. This solution isn't eliminating carbs, but understanding the glycemic load of your meals. Low GI alternatives provide the glucose your brain craves without the harmful spikes. Swapping white bread, a GI of 75, for pumpernickel, a GI of 55, or replacing instant oatmeal, a GI of 83, with steel-cut oats, a GI of 55, can dramatically change how your brain functions for hours afterwards. The research at King's College London tested the cognitive effects of different breakfast options. They found remarkable differences. Students who consumed low GI breakfast showed 16% better memory recall and maintained attention span for approximately 2 hours longer compared to those who ate high GI breakfast foods. What's particularly interesting is that both groups consumed the same number of calories and similar macronutrient ratios. The only difference was the glycemic index of the carbohydrates consumed. The power of the glycemic index becomes even more evident when looking at workplace performance. A fascinating study commissioned by NASA to examine how different lunch options affected afternoon productivity among employees. Those who consumed low GI lunches made 40% fewer errors in complex problem-solving tasks and reported feeling more mentally clear compared to those who ate high GI meals. This cognitive edge from simple to changing a type, not the amount, of carbohydrates could be the difference between a productive afternoon or one fighting brain fog. Did you know the carbohydrates on your plate are literally changing your brain chemistry within minutes of eating them? The post-meal mental fog or unexpected emotional shift isn't random. It's a result of carbs actively rewriting your brain chemistry in real time. The mystery behind why certain meals make you feel focused while others leave you irritable goes deeper than just blood sugar. It involves a sophisticated chemical network that determines your happiness and mental clarity. When you consume carbohydrates, you're not just feeding your brain energy, you're actually triggering a cascade of chemical reactions that directly influence how you feel and think. Carbohydrates play a crucial role in transporting amino acid tryptophan across blood-brain barrier. Once tryptophan enters your brain, it converts to serotonin, the neurotransmitter called the happiness molecule. Many natural foods provide those brain-friendly, low GI carbohydrates. Lentils score just 32 on the glycemic index while providing steady energy for hours. Sweet potatoes rank around 55, compared to regular potatoes at 95. Most berries stay below 40, and vegetables like broccoli and spinach barely register on the scale at all. Even chocolate lovers get good news. Dark chocolate with 70% or higher cocoa content. So what's the real takeaway from everything we've learned? Your brain isn't the enemy of carbs. It's actually designed to run on them. The key isn't cutting carbs completely, but making smarter carb choices. Think of your brain as a high-performance engine that needs the right fuel at the right times. Start your day with a low glycemic breakfast, like overnight oats with cinnamon and berries. For lunch, try quinoa with some vegetables and a lean protein. When that afternoon slump hits, reach for an apple with almond butter instead of processed snacks. These simple swaps can transform your mental clarity within days. Remember, this brain-friendly eating formula, complex carbs plus fiber plus healthy fats, equals optimal brain performance. Your brain will thank you with better focus, more stable moods, and protection against cognitive decline as you age. Isn't that worth changing what's on your plate?